time by Sagicor Bank is
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, kicked out, Reggae Boyz lose bid to qualify for second FIFA World Cup. Revealed, 4 companies named in UHWI procurement scandal. And billion-dollar fined, police make largest cocaine seizure in St. Elizabeth. There's the business report, and later on in sports, heartbroken. Jamaicans react to Reggae Boyz' loss.
Headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Welcome to this exciting and flavor-filled corporate wellness challenge, Healthy Recipe Cost.
We are the Sugar Industry Authority. We are raring to go and win the championship.
We are Team NHT. We're excited and we're here to claim the trophy.
Team CB is super excited and we are ready to showcase our talent.
This initiative demonstrates that healthy eating can be accessible and creative. Let's go!
Tune in to CVM Television this Good Friday, April 3rd at 8 p.m. Presented by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, a Jamaica Moves initiative.
Tuesday, brought to you by
new KFC Saucy Wings. Available in sweet red chili and citrus chipotle barbecue. KFC, it's finger lick.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for Tuesday, March 31, 2026. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us. Jamaica's Reggae Boyz went down by 1-0 against the DR Congo a short while ago, missing out on a spot at the 2026 World Cup in the USA, Mexico and Canada. Axel Tuanzebe scored the game's only goal in minute 100 of extra time. Jamaica ruled a number of missed chances in the first half, with Aston Villa's Leon Bailey coming close on a few occasions. Of course, we'll have more on this later on in sports. To the major news now, there is major development around the procurement scandal rocking the University Hospital of the West Indies. It took fresh turn Tuesday with the 4 companies at the heart of the alleged tax exemption breaches finally being named. It comes after months of speculation and even a suspected leak of information. The hospital's interim CEO, Eric Hossin, was grilled by Parliament's Public Accounts Committee. After much back and forth in the Parliament Tuesday between the acting CEO of the University Hospital of the West Indies, Eric Hossin, and opposition member of the PAC, Christopher Brown, the 4 companies at the heart of the procurement audit were finally named.
The name of the companies are Supreme Laundry Services, Willman's Sales. What's that? Willman's Sales. Willman, WILLMAN, Sales, SALES. Scientific Medical Services, and Jack Den Limited.
But the latter was long touted in the public and used as a political weapon too. It's left MP Brown pondering if the hospital was the one who leaked the name and the reason he remained tight-lipped on the other names. This as it has been established that Jack Den is owned by PNP MP Dennis Gordon.
Only weeks prior, the JLP's youth arm had called for his resignation amid the ensuing probe. But Mr. Hossin insists the hospital didn't release the name.
I know that the Integrity Commission has the files. The names, as would have been known, seen by the Auditor General, were seen by us also. But in terms of the completion of the investigation, one has been completed.
Are the investigations around the named company, which that name was in the public space for months, were those...
We didn't release any names, you know. We have not released any names even to this point.
But you're saying you know of one, and you can name one for investigations
based
complete.
on the report from the customs which I have here, I can state what customs has stated as being the one company.
He then went on to explain the complete report from the bodies investigating is pending, but shares as much concerning Jackden.
And asked what did the report from customs state, right? Third-party verification from the named company with the assistance of the CEO of that company. That one, the goods were imported, and these are the dialysis machines. One, the goods were imported by the company, the goods were paid for by the company, the value of the goods was verified by way of payment records received from the company. Custody of the goods was verified to be that of the company, and the address, and that it was not, and the company confirmed that the goods were in fact imported for that company by the university.
He also told the PAC that the Port Authority has indicated that the unpaid taxes from these transactions must be paid for by the university hospital, as it was their exempt data that was used.
Still at the PAC, something no right, and this no smell good. That's how one opposition member described the revelations shared by the executive of the University Hospital of the West Indies about its procurement breaches reported in the recent Auditor General's report. A further investigation is now underway into those claims.
Why are we buying back? Who is making money? What is this?
Procurement breaches at the University Hospital of the West Indies, cited in an Auditor General's report, were under the microscope at Parliament's Public Accounts Committee on Tuesday. Members mulled over the report with a view to finding answers around who benefited from the hospital's tax-exempt status, the reason and purpose of the buyback of goods from said entities, and what obtains now that a probe is underway.
But this is where it gets bad. And this is in the case of 3 entities now, based on the information that we are gathering. Not only do they bring them in, they turn around and buy back the machine, buy back the whole from the same entities who they allowed to benefit under the tax exemption, buy back, and in some instances for 3 times the amount.
An issue that vexed several members beyond CVM's initial reports on the claims months ago, implicating several private entities. Morrison has asked for the PAC to summon those in certain roles who've since left the hospital.
Obviously, Chairman, there's some collusion taking place between those who are doing the estimates, right? Or some misleading taking place, because you're not telling them who is doing the estimate, you know, that this person is going to get a tax exemption. So somebody benefits somewhere down the line, outside of the company, and whomever doing the estimate, or the procurement department, or probably somebody in that department that is doing the estimate. But something not right, it don't smell good, look good.
Then another curious observation, according to the PAC chairman and opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson. He deems it a flagrant abuse.
The same tax that we needed to collect is the same money we're paying to buy back the thing from the same people that we give a break to. It's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. And what we don't know is how bad it is. We only know about 4. We don't know how far back it goes. We don't know how many companies have benefited from it.
Government member Juliet Cuthbert Flynn questioned how 4 entities were able to benefit from the hospital's tax-exempt status, to which interim CEO Eric Hossin responded that former and current CEOs allegedly had their signatures on some of the documents. Additionally, he says,
the procurement department would have would have received the estimate, would have received the thing to purchase the item from this particular person, but based on our determination, the procurement department was not aware of any duty-free benefit that those importers would have benefited from, or the person selling us would have benefited from.
The PAC will resume interrogation of the UHWI team after the Easter break in 2 weeks' time.
Meantime, concerns are mounting over the proposed National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority bill. Civil society groups are calling for stronger safeguards before the bill is passed into law. Carla Ramdeen reports.
Civil society groups Jamaicans for Justice and the Jamaica Environment Trust have submitted joint recommendations to Parliament on the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority NARRA bill. While supporting the creation of a body to oversee recovery efforts after Hurricane Melissa, the group says the legislation is too centralized, gives the Prime Minister broad powers, and lacks key provisions for transparency, accountability, and public participation. Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody is Chief Executive Officer of JET.
We support the creation of NARRA, but Jamaica deserves legislation that builds genuine, inclusive, and lasting resilience, not just a temporary reconstruction vehicle. Embedding transparency, community voice, and long-term institutional memory from the outset is essential if we are to avoid repeating the mistakes of other post-disaster responses.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson, says the government structure raises serious concerns. She warns that giving the Prime Minister power to appoint the CEO, along with weak whistleblower protections, could reduce accountability in managing public funds.
The governance structure of the authority is deeply concerning. The Prime Minister's direct appointment of the Chief Executive Officer, combined with embedded secrecy provisions that lack adequate whistleblower protections, creates a serious risk of unchecked power and reduced accountability in the management of nearly $2 trillion in public funds. We urge the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, and all parliamentarians to strengthen these provisions so that the bill meets the highest standards of transparency and good governance.
In the meantime, opposition Senator Cleveland Tomlinson also raised concerns. He argues that the issue is not just slow processes but weak institutional capacity, misaligned systems, and a lack of efficiency.
The government has indicated that NARRA will have accelerated powers in relation to approvals and procurement, and FAST Jamaica will facilitate large-scale investment through expedited processes, including, in some cases, direct engagement with investors. While the speed is important, it cannot come at the expense of transparency and accountability. To be clear, Mr. President, the announcement of an oversight body and the indication that it will be chaired by a well-known professor is a positive step. He's a distinguished Jamaican with an international reputation for excellence, and his investment should be given confidence. But, Mr. President, strong individuals alone cannot substitute for strong systems. Given the number of issues relating to public procurement and project execution that have been raised by the Auditor General about this particular government, the Jamaican people are entitled to a clear understanding of the guardrails, Mr. President, that will govern this new framework.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Jamaica recorded its largest single cocaine seizure in history, with authorities charging 3 Colombian nationals following a major drug bust off the south coast. The operation, led by the Firearms and Narcotics Investigation Division, FNID, resulted in the seizure of more than 6,000 pounds of cocaine, valued at approximately 1.65 billion Jamaican dollars. The drugs were discovered after members of the Jamaica Defense Force intercepted a fishing vessel near Alligator Pond, St. Elizabeth, in the early hours of March 21. Authorities say 99 knitted bags containing over 2,400 parcels of cocaine were found on board. FNID Director Senior Superintendent Patray Rowe says the seizure is a major milestone.
This seizure is significant because it is the largest recorded seizure of cocaine in any single incident. To put this into context, last year, for the entire year, 2025, we seized 1,378 kilograms of cocaine. That's for the entire year. This seizure is 124% more than the amount of cocaine we seized for an entire year. And cumulatively, in addition to the seizures that we have made prior to this one, it brought the number to over 3,000 kilograms of cocaine, in which is about almost 3.5 ton of cocaine the police have seized since the start of this year. And going back to the last 5 years, there's no year that we have seized this amount of cocaine in any single year, and it's just 89 days into this year.
The FNID director says the division is making significant progress, revealing that 89 people have been arrested since the start of the year, with 84 already charged. Figures, he says, are unprecedented.
In terms of the local players, the persons who are engaging in partnership to traffic with the Colombian nationals, we are pursuing a number of leads. We are still pursuing our investigation, and we are confident that we will be making more arrests as we proceed with our investigation. I think the Jamaican people by now have invested significant confidence in the JCF on our whole, but in FNID. After all, FNID performance has been unprecedented. We have made a significant number of arrests. FNID boasts a 92% conviction rate before the court. We have seized the largest amount of firearms last year. We seized an unprecedented amount of drugs since the start of this year. So I think there's no doubt in the minds of the Jamaican people that we will do what we say we will do.
There's lots more to come after the break.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in our irresistible sauce. Available in sweet red chili and citrus chipotle barbecue. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Scotiabank knows your first home is where you finally get to say, "This is me." It's where memories grow, inch by inch. It's where hosting creates income and where your home can become a business. Or where little Peter take their very first step into a future you've worked so hard to build. And we know how important it is to capture those special moments. At Scotiabank, our goal is to help you find a home for your first.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and minds. Open your heart and experience General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and feel his love. Greater love.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Still in the news, a 17-year-old boy is facing charges of simple larceny following the theft of the debit card of a woman with whom he lived. He is being accused of withdrawing funds exceeding 800,000 Jamaican dollars sometime between February and March this year. Reports from the Lucy police are that the teen boy searched her belongings and removed her debit card without her knowledge or consent. It was further reported that the woman became suspicious as a result of the unemployed teenager purchasing a motorcycle valued at over $190,000. Further checks revealed that money was withdrawn from her account. A report was made to the police. The teen was subsequently charged following a question and answer session in the presence of a relative and 2 justices of the peace. He's scheduled to appear before the Hanover Family Court on Tuesday, March 31. Now, 6 people, including 2 children, have died in road crashes since the weekend. 5 were on motorcycles and 1 in a car. This brings the national count for fatal collisions in March up to 14 and fatalities up to 15, according to the Traffic Analysis Unit. Although this is almost a 50% drop in road fatalities when compared to the same time in 2025, Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, NRSC, Dr. Lucian Jones, says it's a complete disaster. Champs 2026 ended with Jamaica College and Edwin Allen High Schools emerging as champions. But while the spotlight remains on athletic excellence, serious concerns are now being raised about what took place off track. Akeem Aret has that report.
What should have been a celebration of talent and camaraderie at the Champs has left a sour taste for some, not because of what happened on track, but what unfolded online. Several student athletes, many of them minors, were subjected to sexual suggestive comments and harassment on social media, simply for what they wore while competing. The National Parent-Teacher Association of Jamaica is now sounding the alarm. The association says reports indicate that some adults attending the event used their phones to capture images and videos of student athletes, then shared them online with captions and commentary that were inappropriate and in some cases exploitative. President of the association, Stuart Jacobs, says this is not a new issue, but one that has been allowed to fester for far too long.
We got a lot of calls from concerned parents as well as concerned people in the school system who, highlighted the thoughts that it is a bit unsavory. I think it's very, very invasive of our children because they, on purpose, they zoom into the body parts of our male athletes and female athletes also. And the comments that are being made on social media is very, very disheartening.
The association has commended the Inter-Secondary Schools Sports Association for its efforts to safeguard students during the event, noting that the organization, made up of educators and stakeholders, has taken steps to protect athletes. However, Jacobs argues that some individuals, particularly adult spectators, have crossed a clear line.
And it bothers us, bothers me that adults can come with their camera and they superimpose what it is. They superimpose particular areas of the child anatomy to expose it on social media. And adults are making comments of the child's part. That is just wrong.
The group stresses the problem is not with traditional media houses, but with unregulated content creators who are driven by clicks, views, and viral engagement rather than journalistic ethics or child protection standards. He has since urged ISA to physically block and remove content creators who engage in this behavior, but is now calling for stronger, more visible action.
And I know the Child Protection Agency should be looking at this, and I'm almost certain that they are, to find ways in which they can get the legal part of it and to ensure that the policies are in place, that it does not happen. Certainly not as widespread as we have seen in this particular champ. It became something where even particular athletes, people were actually asking, when is that athlete going to compete again?
And in a direct message to parents, Jacobs is encouraging them to not stay silent, but to take legal action against anyone who sexualizes or harasses their children online. Akeem Aret for CVM News.
Jamaica's beach access and management policy, now under review, is facing criticism from environmental advocates who argue it could do more harm than good. Carla Ramdeen tells us more.
Jamaica's beach access and management policy, now under review, aims to improve public access to shorelines while protecting the environment. The policy will replace the 1956 Beach Control Act and introduce measures such as designated access points, protection of fishing rights, and regulation of coastal development. But President of the Jamaica Birthright Environmental Movement, JABEM, Dr. Donovan Taylor, says the policy raises serious concerns. He argues it reinforces a colonial framework, provisions that could allow for the sale of public beaches and the creation of artificial beaches, potentially impacting the natural coastline.
It went further than the Beach Control Act of 1956 by allowing the sale of public beaches, the creation of artificial beaches that will further destroy the coastline, and to entrench in that policy, right, that Jamaicans have no rights. Any rights that we have to be conditional and conditioned on the license that whoever is operating an establishment their country is subjected to that. And we are a country of rights. And so I think it is fitting that the public, show up and demonstrate to the country, that we do not want to continue this colonial law in our country.
Dr. Taylor explains the coastal displacement is not only rooted in colonialism, but also a form of capitalism that he argues has never served Jamaicans.
We are not talking about, when you talk about people earn money, construction of businesses. What we're looking at is a small bunch of elites that control most of the wealth. And that leads to inequality. Right? And inequality requires discrimination to manifest itself. That is what's happening at the foreshore to the people of the country and to the land itself. And so we had to put that in the context of what history has teach us and what we are the lived reality of the Jamaican people right now.
In the meantime, the government maintains that the policy will bring structure and order to beach access and management. However, Dr. Taylor disagrees, arguing that the document is designed to transfer the nation's wealth into the hands of a few elites.
So I don't want to be distracted about fees. The government is not giving Jamaicans people's rights. The government proposed to sell the Jamaican beaches. The government is proposing to codify into law the appropriation of the sea through the building of overwater bungalow. The government knows that we only have 150 miles of sandy beaches, so the government is allowing artificial beaches to be created, ripping out rock faces, and then telling the country that you will have no rights to that space. That is destruction, and that is putting money over people, right? So, listen, the policy, if you look at it very clearly, is consistent with a colonial architecture and is consistent with the transfer of wealth from the nation to a few. That is the classic example of the kind of inequality that capitalism breeds.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Jody and Quarry now joins us for a look at what's ahead in Lead Story Prime.
Thanks so much, Nika. Tonight we're discussing men's mental health. A serious discussion after a very difficult day where Jamaica does not make it to the World Cup 2026. But a crucial discussion because men are overwhelmingly represented in our suicide statistics. And so we thought it was important to deep dive and see what's going on with the men in our country. What help and support do they need? And are they even going after it? As many are dealing with economic pressures that they feel need to be kept silent. So we'll have that conversation about men, money, and mental breakdown later at 8.
The 3 M's. Well, with that, we take a break. More after these.
Take charge of praise and worship. We'll take care of your coverage. You take care of the farming, livestock, and fishing. We'll take care of your life insurance. You take care of business. We'll take care of the health insurance. Everyone deserves access to quality insurance. So, Sagicor Life has developed a suite of affordable insurance products offering life, critical illness, and health insurance coverage to specific groups at affordable rates for themselves and their families. Coverage for all. Care for you.
Welcome to this exciting and flavor-filled corporate wellness challenge healthy recipe cost.
We are the Sugar Industry Authority. We are raring to go and win the championship.
We are Team NHT. We're excited and we're here to claim the trophy.
Team CB is super excited and we are ready to showcase our talent.
This initiative demonstrates that healthy eating can be accessible and creative. Let's go!
Tune in to CVM Television this Good Friday, April 3rd at 8 p.m. Presented by the Ministry of Health and Wellness, a Jamaica Moves initiative.
Hi, I am Candy Pang.
Watagwan. Watagwan.
Datagwan.
Watagwan.
Watagwan. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
New KFC Saucy Wings. Available in sweet red chili and citrus chipotle barbecue. KFC, it's finger licking good. The time by KFC is
7:30.
Thanks so much for staying with us. It's now time for the Business Report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the Business Report today. Upon the return of the Cygnus Business Breakfast Summit, held under the theme Building Resilience, Mobilizing Capital for a Sustainable Caribbean. Cygnus, as the appointed fund manager of the US $135 million Caribbean Community Resilience Fund, CCRF, a 10-year impact investment fund facilitating the deployment of capital into critical sectors necessary for development. As we hear from Gerardo Aguilar, head of Climate and Resilience at Cygnus.
And that's where the Caribbean Community Resilience Fund from Cygnus is, I would say, an innovation in channeling all that money.
We apologize for that audio-less clip. But it's now time for regional and international news with Marshall Hazley.
We begin with regional news. The future of Cuban medical professionals in Tobago is in sharp focus as a policy shift in Trinidad raises fresh uncertainty for foreign medics, even while Tobago's health officials insist the recruitment system remains unchanged. Tobago News has the detail.
For years, Cuban doctors have been the backbone of several specialist departments in Tobago, for the Scarborough General Hospital to the new Roxborough facility. However, recent reports of expiring government-to-government agreements have left many medics in limbo, with some calling for the right to stay and work as independent contractors.
In news overseas, France and Italy have joined Spain in pushing back on U.S.-Israeli military operations as U.S. President Donald Trump singled out NATO allies in Europe as unhelpful in the month-long war. France 24 reports.
France is getting on Donald Trump's nerves. This time he has accused the U.S. ally of not sharing its airspace.
The country of France wouldn't let planes headed to Israel loaded with military supplies fly over French territory. France has been very unhelpful with respect to the butcher of Iran, who has been successfully eliminated. The USA will remember.
However, the US president's social media post came as a surprise to France. President Emmanuel Macron's office assured Tuesday that it had not changed its position on US military overflights. Namely, that it does not allow aircraft used for military purposes to use its airspace to reach Israel.
In the meantime, the US and Israel continue to strike cities in Iran, as explosions have been seen in Tehran and the western city of Isfahan. Al Jazeera tells us more.
President Trump posted online the footage of strikes on Isfahan. U.S. media report that a weapons depot was hit there.
We know that over the past 24 hours, the capital witnessed the continued nature of these airstrikes, targeting the areas near the Mehrabad airport, as well as overnight we received a report about the electricity blackout across the capital, specifically in the eastern parts of the capital, as a result of the attacks on the power infrastructure.
And that's it for regional and international news. I'm Marshall Hazley.
We take a break. Stay with us. Thanks so much for staying with us. Still in the news, the National Solid Waste Management Authority executed a major cleanup operation along sections of the coastline in Montego Bay, St. James, following the recent washing up of large amounts of waste through the South Gully. This initiative forms part of the NSWMA's ongoing efforts to encourage citizens to properly store their waste, avoid illegal dumping, and take collective responsibility for protecting the environment. Crystal Williams reports.
The affected shoreline of Montego Bay, particularly in the vicinity of Pier 1 and the Montego Bay Fire Station, has seen an accumulation of debris deposited along the coast. Executive Director of the NSWMA, Audley Gordon, says periodic maintenance is what will prepare the area for the next hurricane season.
And we want to ensure that as we go in to the next hurricane season, that we would have done our part to make sure that there's free passage under the bridge here. It is important though that this exercise is not a one-off. There must be a periodic maintenance of this underpass here. Because once you don't keep it clear, there will always be a problem when you have heavy rains.
Speaking directly to persons living in communities along the banks of the main road and the wider public, Mr. Gordon warned against illicit dumping, adding that garbage not containerized ends up contaminating marine life.
That we are responsible for the solid waste that we generate. It is not somebody else's duty. It is our duty to make sure that the solid waste that we generate is properly containerized so it don't make its way into the waterway and then clog the drains, clog the gullies, and cause the flooding, which result in loss of lives, damage to property, and all other inconveniences.
According to the NSWMA head, this is the last activity in the second phase of the authority's ongoing efforts to encourage citizens to take collective responsibility for protecting the environment. He says the first phase started right after Melissa and costed roughly $500 million. The third phase will be slightly different.
In the third phase, what you will see is that people are now repairing their homes. People are now showing out the old zinc that can't use, the old board that can't use. When they start the repairs, we are seeing where they are throwing out other stuff now because they are realizing what can be used and what cannot be used. And we have to be there to pick it up also. So, yes, the debris management continues, but it will be in a new phase. But the original heavy lifting phase, we're wrapping it up this morning.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
We return with sports right after the break.
Employers, once a month, you have the power to shape Jamaica's future. By paying your hard 3% contribution, you're not just contributing, you're investing in people, in skills, in our economy. Your hard contribution trains working-age Jamaicans, aligns programs with workforce needs, and secures our future. That's not just contribution, it's transformation. Contribute to heart and to your future.
Me and the stylist, no scam and style me.
From the market to the farm to the office, money talk is everywhere. But are you making sense or nonsense? The Bank of Jamaica brings you common sense